The rain-slicked streets of San Francisco gleamed under the sodium lamps like shattered promises, and Benjamin Harper slammed the car door so hard it echoed off the Victorian row houses. His heart pounded not from the storm, but from the voicemail he'd just deleted. Michael's mother, Evelyn, her voice a venomous whisper. "If you think you can steal my son's life from me, you're dead wrong." He froze on the stoop, key trembling in the lock, wondering if love was just another word for war. Inside, Michael waited with dinner cooling on the table, oblivious, his smile a fragile shield against the storm about to break their world apart. Benjamin had always believed in second chances, the kind that tasted like fresh coffee on a foggy Bay Area morning. He'd met Michael at a cramped indie bookstore in the Castro, the kind where the shelves sagged under the weight of dog-eared paperbacks and the air smelled of ink and quiet desperation. It was a Tuesday in late spring, the sort of day when the sun played hide and seek with the clouds, and Ben was thumbing through a worn copy of The Great Gatsby, half lost in Fitzgerald's green light illusions, when a voice cut through the dust motes like a lifeline. "Escaping to the jazz age again? Careful, or you'll end up chasing shadows across Long Island Sound." Ben looked up, and there was Michael, tall, with that effortless California glow, his dark hair curling just a touch too long at the collar, eyes the color of Pacific foam under a full moon. He held a stack of graphic novels under one arm, his flannel shirt rolled up to reveal forearms dusted with faint freckles. Ben's pulse stuttered, the book slipping from his fingers onto the worn Persian rug. Michael caught it mid-fall, their hands brushing in that electric way that felt scripted by some benevolent god of rom-coms. "Sorry," Ben muttered, cheeks heating like he'd been caught red-handed at a family dinner. "Shadows sound better than my reality right now." Michael grinned, all easy charm and hidden depths. "Reality's overrated." "What's got you running? Bad breakup? Alien invasion? Divorce papers?" Actually, the words tumbled out before Ben could cage them. He'd signed them 3 weeks ago, after 5 years of pretending his ex's indifference was just a phase. Coming out at 32 felt like jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge without a net. Terrifying, exhilarating, and probably fatal. Michael's grin softened into something real, empathetic. "Ouch. That's like ripping off a Band-Aid dipped in lemon juice. Buy you a coffee? There's a spot around the corner that makes lattes strong enough to wake the dead." They ended up at a hole-in-the-wall cafe called Brewed Awakening, squeezed into a corner booth with mismatched mugs steaming between them. Michael was a graphic designer for a tech startup in Soma, the kind of guy who doodled superheroes on napkins and dreamed in panels of vibrant color. Ben was a high school English teacher in the Mission District, molding young minds with Shakespeare and Steinbeck, though lately he'd felt more like the tragic hero than the bard. They talked for hours about the ache of unrequited family love, the thrill of pride parades snaking through Market Street, the quiet rebellion of holding hands in a city that still whispered judgments under its breath. By the time the barista flipped the closed sign, Ben knew he'd found his plot twist. Michael walked him to the BART station, their shoulders brushing in the chill evening air. "This isn't a one-act play," Michael said, leaning in close enough for Ben to catch the scent of sandalwood and sea salt. "Give me your number. Let's see where the story goes." That night, Ben lay awake in his tiny No Valley apartment, staring at the ceiling fan's lazy spin, replaying the brush of fingers, the spark in Michael's eyes. For the first time since the divorce, hope didn't feel like a dirty word. Their first date was at the Exploratorium, because Michael insisted museums were better than therapy, minus the bill. They wandered exhibits of warped mirrors and whispering winds, laughing until their sides ached at a kinetic sculpture that mimicked a lover's quarrel, gears grinding, then meshing in perfect harmony. Ben stole glances at Michael, mesmerized by the way his laughter lit up the dim halls, how his hand lingered just a second too long on Ben's arm during a shadow puppet show. Over burritos at a taqueria afterward, buried in foil wrappers and salsa verde, Michael grew serious. My family's complicated. Dad bailed when I was 10. Mom's been holding the fort ever since. She's got this iron grip on everything. My career choices. My lifestyle. He air-quoted the word with a wry twist. Haven't told her about guys yet. Feels like defusing a bomb. Ben nodded, understanding the weight of unspoken truths. His own parents, conservative transplants from the Midwest, had taken the divorce like a personal affront. What will the neighbors think? But they'd softened over tearful brunches, mailing rainbow flags for his classroom door. Bombs can be disarmed, Ben said softly. One wire at a time. They kissed for the first time on the steps of the De Young Museum, the sun dipping behind the Legion of Honor, painting the sky in strokes of rose and gold. Michael's lips were tentative at first, then fervent, like he'd been starving for this moment. Ben's world narrowed to the press of bodies, the distant hum of tourists, the promise of more pages turning. Summer blurred into a montage of stolen weekends, hiking the mist-shrouded trails of Muir Woods, where redwoods whispered secrets older than empires, picnics in Golden Gate Park with kites dancing like freed spirits, lazy Sundays in Michael's loft in the dog patch, sketching each other by the bay window while Nina Simone crooned from the turntable. Ben fell hard, the kind of love that rewrote his syllabus lessons on vulnerability, on letting go. Michael proposed on a crisp October afternoon, atop Twin Peaks, the city sprawling below like a lover's rumpled sheets. He'd hidden the ring in a thermos of spiked hot cider. Practical romance, he joked, and when he dropped to one knee, wind whipping his hair, Ben's yes was a sob of pure, unfiltered joy. You're my forever plot, Michael murmured, sliding the simple platinum band onto Ben's finger, etched with their initials intertwined. The wedding was small, intimate, held in a sun-dappled garden in the Presidio, wildflowers nodding in the breeze like approving guests. Ben's sister flew in from Chicago, her hug fierce and tear-streaked. His parents stood awkwardly proud, clutching programs printed with 2 souls. One story. Michael's side was sparse. Cousins from Sacramento, a college buddy with a guitar, but Evelyn, his mother, loomed large in her absence. She's got a cold, Michael had said the night before, though Ben suspected the chill ran deeper. They exchanged vows under an arch of blooming jasmine. Michael's voice steady. Benjamin Harper, you saw me when I was invisible, loved me when I was afraid. I promise to be your co-author, your safe harbor, through every twist and turn. Ben's response choked him. Michael Reyes, you're the light in my green light, the heart in my heartbreak. With you, every ending is a beginning. As they kissed to cheers and the strum of acoustic strings, Ben glimpsed a shadow in the tree-lean, a woman in a severe coat, watching with eyes like flint. Evelyn. But she vanished before he could point her out, leaving only the rustle of leaves and a prickle of unease. Honeymoon in Big Sur was a dream of crashing waves and cliffside drives, their rental cabin perched like a love letter to the coast. They hiked to hidden coves, bodies tangled in salt-stiff sheets, whispering futures over campfires, adopting a rescue dog, Maybe a kid someday through surrogacy. A house with a yard for barbecues and fireflies. Our story's just getting good, Michael said, tracing Ben's jaw in the firelight. Back in the city, they dove into house hunting with the fervor of new converts. Realtors dragged them through cookie-cutter colonials in the Sunset and fixer-uppers in Bernal Heights, but nothing clicked until a foggy Saturday in No Valley. The house was a butter-yellow Edwardian with gingerbread trim, creaky oak floors, and a backyard tangled with bougainvillea. "It's us," Ben breathed, envisioning bookshelves lining the living room, a studio for Michael's art in the attic. They pooled savings, Ben's teacher pension, Michael's freelance windfalls, and closed escrow on a crisp November day. Standing on the porch, keys in hand, Michael pulled Ben close. "Home sweet home, Mr. Reyes Harper." Ben laughed, the hyphen their private rebellion. To many chapters here, little did they know, the next chapter would be written in invisible ink, until it bled through the pages. The first months in the Yellow House were a symphony of small joys, the kind that stitch a life together thread by thread. Ben woke to the aroma of Michael's pancakes, lumpy but laced with vanilla, and the sun filtering through lace curtains they'd salvaged from a flea market in the Haight. They'd paint weekends away, Ben wielding the roller in living room blues that evoked the bay's moody hues, Michael taping edges with precision born of graphic precision. Evenings blurred into movie marathons on a thrift store couch, Ben's head in Michael's lap, debating plot holes in Brokeback Mountain until the credits rolled. Work grounded them, Ben corralling rowdy sophomores through The Catcher in the Rye, finding solace in Holden's raw ache mirroring his own past fractures. Michael pitching bold campaigns to skeptical VCs, his sketches blooming into apps that connected queer youth across the state. They volunteered at the SF LGBT Center, facilitating workshops on coming-out narratives. Ben's voice steady as he shared his divorce scars, Michael's humor lightening the room like a well-timed punchline. Christmas came wrapped in tinsel and tension. Ben's family video called from a snowy Illinois porch, his mom's fruitcake recipe recited like a rosary, his dad awkwardly toasting to the boys making it in the big city. Michael's call to Evelyn was shorter, stilted, her voice tinny through the speakerphone, inquiring after that house you mentioned with the casual probe of a district attorney. "It's lovely, Mom. Ben and I are settling in." A pause, heavy as fog. "Good. Family roots run deep, Michael. Don't forget that." Ben caught the flinch in Michael's jaw, the way his fingers tightened on the phone. Later, over eggnog by the tree they'd chopped from a tree farm in Half Moon Bay, Ben broached it gently. "Your mom's." Intense. "You okay?" Michael shrugged, ornaments glinting in his eyes. "She's always been the protector type. After Dad left, it was just us against the world. Sacramento winters were brutal, bills piling up, me dodging bullies at school. She fought tooth and nail. But love, that's her blind spot." He pulled Ben close, breath warm against his temple. "You're my sight, Ben. Don't worry," but worry seated, quiet and insistent, like ivy creeping up the house's stucco. Evelyn's visits started innocently, a Mother's Day brunch at Zazie, where she arrived in a crisp linen suit, her silver-streaked bob impeccable, appraising the Yellow House with a realtor's eye. "Charming," she said, sipping mimosa without smiling. "Though the foundation looks suspect." "Ever had it inspected properly?" Ben bit back a retort, focusing on the quiche instead. Michael mediated with easy anecdotes. But Evelyn's gaze lingered on Ben like he was a smudge on her lens. Tolerated, but in need of wiping. By summer, the visits multiplied. Evelyn claimed retirement wanderlust, her empty-nest Sacramento bungalow too echoing since Michael's little sister had decamped to L.A. for acting gigs. She dropped by unannounced, bearing Tupperware of her famous lasagna, heavy on the oregano, light on affection, critiquing the garden's overgrown roses or suggesting updates to the kitchen that involved gutting Ben's beloved vintage tiles. One sweltering July afternoon, Ben came home from parent-teacher conferences to find Evelyn in the living room, rifling through their wedding album on the coffee table. Michael was at a client meeting, the house fan whirring lazily. "Mrs. Reyes," Ben said, forcing warmth. "Didn't know you were stopping by. Evelyn, please." She closed the album with a snap, photo of their Presidio kiss staring up like evidence. "Just reminiscing. Michael was such a beautiful boy, full of promise. This phase of his," her lips pursed, the word dangling like a guillotine. "It's not what I envisioned." Ben's stomach nodded, but he held steady, channeling every poise lesson from his classroom. "Love isn't a phase, Evelyn. It's the constant." She arched a brow, standing to smooth her blouse. "Constants can shift, like tides, or property lines." Her laugh was brittle, and she swept out, leaving the album askew. That night, Ben confessed over takeout pad thai. Chopsticks paused midair. "She hates me, doesn't she?" Michael sighed, rubbing his temples. "She hates change. Give her time. She's family." Ben wanted to argue that family wasn't a monolith, that love demanded boundaries, but he swallowed it, kissing Michael's worry lines instead. "For you," he whispered. "I'll try." Fall brought harvest festivals in the Apple Hill orchards, a weekend escape where they picked Honeycrisps under amber leaves, Evelyn's shadow banished by the crunch of fruit and Michael's stolen kisses behind hay bales. Back home, they hosted their first Thanksgiving, Ben's sister and her wife joining via Zoom from a Chicago blizzard, toasting with virtual glasses. Evelyn arrived fashionably late, her pie store-bought but presented with flourish. Dinner was a minefield, her barbs about modern families masked as jokes, Ben's deflections polished to a shine. Michael, ever the buffer, steered talk to neutral waters, tech trends, school anecdotes, his smile strained like overtaxed elastic. As plates cleared, Evelyn cornered Ben at the sink, suds bubbling like unspoken grievances. "You're good for him, Benjamin, in small doses. But this house, it's Rhea's legacy." Michael mentioned the deeds in both names. "Sloppy." Ben's grip tightened on a sponge. "We built this together. Equal partners." "Partners." She echoed the word like a curse. "Blood's thicker. Remember that." The words haunted Ben through the night, sleep elusive as he traced the ceiling cracks by moonlight. Michael stirred beside him, murmuring in dreams, and Ben clung tighter, anchoring to the man who'd chosen him amid the chaos. Winter holidays loomed, and with them, Evelyn's surprise, a week-long stay, ostensibly for New Year's, but her suitcase bulged with permanence. "Just until I find a place in the city," she announced over coffee on Christmas Eve, as if it were a gift. Michael beamed, hugging her fiercely. Ben managed a nod, throat tight. The yellow house, once their sanctuary, began to feel like a stage, Evelyn directing from the wings, her critiques the script. She rearranged the pantry. Efficiency matters. Suggested selling the cluttered attic studio for better flow. Her presence a slow erosion of their peace. One snowy January evening, after a particularly barbed comment about Ben's frivolous lesson plans, he snapped in the kitchen, voice low but laced with steel. "This is our home, Evelyn. Not a renovation project." Her eyes narrowed, chin lifting. "Our home? It's my son's inheritance. I sacrificed everything for him, nights waitressing, days in court fighting for custody. You're a chapter. I'm the book." Michael walked in then, snowflakes melting in his hair, and the air thickened. "What's going on?" "Nothing," Ben lied, forcing a smile. But as Evelyn retreated to the guest room, her guest room now, the fracture lines deepened, invisible fault lines waiting for the quake. Spring teased with cherry blossoms along Lombard Street, but inside the yellow house, tension coiled like a spring. Ben and Michael stole moments, a quick lunch at Tartine, fingers laced under the table, a midnight walk along Ocean Beach, waves crashing approval. "We're solid," Michael assured, kissing Ben's knuckles. "She's leaving soon," but soon stretched. Evelyn's job hunt a phantom, her stories of Sacramento woes endless. Ben buried doubts in lesson plans, in the center's youth group, where he mentored a shy freshman named Alex, echoing his own hesitant youth. "Love's a risk," he told the kid over hot cocoa. "But the right one, worth every tremor," yet tremors built. Bills arrived with Evelyn's contributions, checks for mortgage help, strings attached in fine print Ben overlooked in exhaustion. Michael's freelance dried up, a client pulling out over creative differences, and Evelyn swooped in with loans from her savings, her ledger-keeping meticulous. By May, the house felt besieged. Evelyn claimed the sunroom for yoga, her mats unrolling over Ben's reading nook. Dinners devolved into interrogations, her probing Michael's stability, sidelining Ben's input. One night, after she'd accidentally deleted Ben's syllabus draft from the shared laptop, old habits, backing up my way, he confronted Michael in the garage, amid boxes of unpacked wedding gifts. "She's not leaving, is she? This is takeover." Michael's face crumpled. "She's family, Ben." Struggling. "We can handle it." "Handle? She's dismantling us." Tears stung, hot and unbidden. "I thought we were the priority." "We are." Michael pulled him into an embrace, strong arms a temporary dam. "I love you. More than anything. Give me time to talk to her." Ben nodded into his shoulder, inhaling the familiar comfort, but doubt festered, a whisper wondering if love could weather a siege. June bloomed with Pride Month fanfare, rainbow flags fluttering from every lamppost in the Castro like defiant banners. Ben and Michael threw themselves into the festivities, volunteering at the parade float build, sweat-soaked and laughing as they glued glitter to cardboard cutouts of intertwined hands. Evelyn opted out. "Crowds aren't my scene," but her absence was a brief reprieve, the house echoing with their uninhibited joy. The night before the march, they lay tangled in sheets, the window cracked to let in the distant thrum of bass from Castro Street parties. Michael's fingers traced lazy patterns on Ben's chest, stories spilling like confessions. "Remember our first Pride together? You in that ridiculous feather boa, me tripping over the sidewalk cracks." Ben chuckled, the memory a bomb. "You blamed the heels." "Liar." "Guilty." Michael's kiss deepened, slow and reverent, a reaffirmation amid the creeping chill. This, us. It's my parade every day. The march was electric, 1,000 strong, chanting love is love under cerulean skies. Ben and Michael hand in hand, their rings catching sunlight like Morse code. Ben waved to Alex from the center's booth. The kids' grin brighter than the confetti cannons. For those hours, Evelyn's shadow receded, love a tidal wave washing clean. But tides turn. Back home, unpacking parade swag, Ben found a letter slipped under the door. Cream envelope, Evelyn's looping script. For Michael's eyes, it read, but curiosity pried it open. Inside, a real estate listing for their yellow house. Circled in red, prime no valley gem, potential for family legacy. A note clipped, time to discuss succession planning. Son. Ben's blood ran cold. He shoved it back, heart hammering, but the seed of betrayal sprouted thorns. Evelyn's maneuvers escalated subtly, surgically. She discovered old blueprints in the attic, Rhea's family heirlooms? No, just dusty city records she'd procured from a contact at the Hall of Records. This place has history, she'd say over breakfast, unfolding them like war maps. Pre-1906 quake reinforcements. Valuable, Michael humored her, sketching remodel ideas in his notebook. But Ben saw the hook. Evelyn's consultant fees, her suggestions edging toward equity shares. One evening, as Ben graded papers at the kitchen table, she slid a folder across mortgage statements, highlighted payments. Generous of me, covering the shortfall. But fairness demands acknowledgement. Acknowledgement, Ben's pen stilled. We're partners. All in. Partners imply equality. Her smile was a scalpel. But debts accrue interest. Michael walked in, sensing the frost. Mom. Enough. Ben's family too. Family, she echoed, packing the folder. Precisely why I'm protecting it. The word protecting became Evelyn's mantra, wielded like a shield. She charmed Michael's cousins at a backyard barbecue, regaling them with tales of his prodigy childhood, glossing over Ben as the teacher friend. Whispers circulated, texts Ben glimpsed on Michael's phone. Evelyn says the house needs a steady hand. What's the rush on marriage anyway? Isolation crept in. Ben's sister called from Chicago, voice laced with concern. Heard from mutuals, you two okay? Mom-in-law drama sounds Shakespearean. Ben laughed it off. But the mirror showed hollows under his eyes, laughter lines deepening into worry creases. Work became refuge. At school, Ben poured passion into a unit on queer literature, Walt Whitman's Leaves of Grass, Audre Lorde's Zombie Fire. Students leaned in, Alex confiding post-class. Your stories make mine feel less alone, fueled Ben, a reminder that narratives could heal. But home eroded. Evelyn reorganized the garage, unearthing Ben's divorce box, yellowed photos, a cracked frame of his ex. She left it open on the counter, a silent accusation. Baggage weighs heavy, she noted mildly when confronted. Michael apologized profusely, banishing her to a day trip in Napa. But the damage lingered. That night, in bed, Ben's voice cracked. Is she right? Am I just baggage? Michael's arms tightened, fierce. You're my anchor, Ben. She's scared of losing me, of the world changing. But you're my world. They made love then, tender and urgent, reclaiming the space Evelyn had tainted. Dawn found them whispering vows anew, but Ben's trust frayed at the edges, threads pulling loose. July's heat wave amplified the pressure cooker. Freelance gigs eluded Michael, rejections piling like unanswered prayers. Evelyn's loans bridged gaps, her ledger a growing shadow. She hosted a family council in the living room, uninvited aunts and uncles arriving with casseroles and condolences for Michael's rough patch. Ben hovered on the fringes, pouring wine, his input dismissed as outsider perspective. During dessert, Evelyn unveiled her masterstroke, a family trust document drafted by her lawyer cousin in Sacramento. For the house, she explained, passing copies. Secures the Reyes legacy. Michael signs, and we're golden. Ben scanned the fine print. Transfer of partial title to Evelyn as steward. Ben's name buried in subclauses. His equity diluted to whispers. This isn't protection, he said, voice steady despite the quake inside. It's erasure. Silence blanketed the room, forks pausing. Michael's face paled, eyes darting between them. Ben's right. Mom. This crosses a line. Evelyn's composure cracked. Just a hair, lips thinning, knuckles whitening on her glass. I'm saving you from ruin. That man's dragging you down. Debts, doubts. Blood knows best. Ben's not that man. He's my husband. Michael's stand was a thunderclap, relatives shifting uncomfortably. The meeting dissolved in murmurs, guests fleeing to the backyard like rats from a sinking ship. Later, alone in the study, Michael burned the trust papers in the fireplace, flames devouring the ink. I'm sorry, he choked, ashes swirling. I should have seen it sooner. Ben held him as sobs racked. Love a fierce tide against the breach. We fight together. Always. But Evelyn didn't retreat. She doubled down. Mornings spent on calls to realtors. Afternoons researching property values. Her presence a siege engine battering their walls. Ben found hidden cameras in the garden. For security, she claimed, and tampered mail. Offers from developers slipped into the stack. August brought a brutal climax. Ben returned from a center fundraiser to find the living room rearranged. Evelyn's antique furniture from Sacramento installed, their couch relegated to the basement. Streamlining, she said airily, sipping tea. Your tastes clash. Rage boiled over. Get out. Now. Her eyes flashed steel. This is Rhea's property. You'll see. Michael arrived to chaos. Raised voices. Ben's face streaked with fury. He sided with Ben, ushering Evelyn to the door with packed bags. Her protests a litany of grievances. Ungrateful boy. After all I sacrificed. The door slammed. Silence ringing. Michael collapsed against it, drained. She's gone. For good. Ben pulled him close, but victory tasted bitter. In the wreckage, he spotted the trust folder, unsigned but annotated. Michael's handwriting. Consider. The question mark was a dagger. Doubt bloomed full, petals of pain. As they cleaned, Ben's mind raced. Was Michael's loyalty a performance? Had Evelyn's whispers sown seeds in fertile soil? That night, sleep evaded, Ben staring at the ceiling while Michael snored softly. Love, he realized, wasn't invincible. It bent under weights unseen, and their foundation trembled. September's back-to-school bustle masked the fault lines, but Ben felt them spiderwebbing beneath every step. The yellow house stood defiant, its gingerbread trim a jaunty grin against the fog. But inside, silences stretched like unspoken indictments. Michael threw himself into job hunting, endless LinkedIn scrolls, coffee-fueled interviews in gleaming Soma towers, his optimism a forced march. Ben mirrored it at school, channeling unrest into impassioned lectures on angels in America. Tony Kushner's elegy for fractured loves hitting too close to home. Evelyn's exile lasted 2 weeks, a fragile peace shattered by a late-night call. Michael took it in the kitchen, voice hushed, Ben eavesdropping from the hallway like a ghost. "Mom! No, we handled it." Pause. "The house? That's not. I know the history, but Ben." Another pause. Longer. Michael's shoulders slumping. "I'll think about it." "Love you." Ben retreated to bed, heart a bruised fist. Think about what? The trust? The legacy? Morning brought evasion. Michael's kiss rushed. His rough night. Babe a flimsy veil. They tried rebuilding. Date nights at foreign cinema. Films projected on brick walls while paella steamed nearby. Weekend getaways to Point Reyes. Hiking bluffs where seals barked approval. In a lighthouse tower, wind-whipped and alive, Michael proposed a fresh start. "Let's refinance. Clear her loans. Make it ironclad ours." Ben agreed, hope flickering. But the paperwork unearthed ghosts, Evelyn's payments woven into the mortgage like kudzu, her name lurking in footnotes. The lawyer, a no-nonsense queer woman from the Castro with tattoos of intertwined vines, warned, "She's got hooks. Pull too hard. Things tear." Michael nodded, jaw set, but Ben caught him later, staring at a photo of young Evelyn cradling toddler Michael on a Sacramento porch. Ice soft with memory. Fall deepened, leaves carpeting no valley sidewalks in crimson carpets. Ben's classes thrived, Alex blooming into a confident poet, reciting verses at open mics that left audiences hushed. Ben beamed from the wings, pride swelling, but homeward pulls dragged him down. Michael's interviews yielded a promising offer, a senior designer gig at a queer-friendly startup in the Mission, but acceptance hinged on stability, code for untangled finances. Evelyn re-entered via proxy. Care packages of Sacramento walnuts and clippings from real estate blogs. "For your future." Michael shared them uneasily. But Ben saw the thaw, the way he'd linger over her notes, fingers tracing her script. The breaking point brewed on a rainy October Saturday. Ben was at the center, leading a panel on family dynamics in queer spaces, his talk on boundaries drawing nods and tears. Returning soaked, he found Michael and Evelyn in the living room, her perched on their couch, tea steaming, his face alight with reluctant warmth. "Ben!" Michael startled, guilt flashing. Mom dropped by. Peace offering. Evelyn rose, arms open in feigned contrition. "I overstepped. Forgive an old woman's fears." Ben's umbrella dripped pools on the rug, suspicion pooling deeper. Fears? Or strategies? She winced theatrically. Both. But family men's. She produced a bottle of Napa Cabernet, vintage from Michael's birth year. Truce, against his instincts. Ben accepted, the wine loosening tongues over pasta. Evelyn spun yarns of Michael's boyhood, 8th grade pranks, high school heartbreaks, omitting the gay undercurrents, painting Ben as the fortunate interloper. Laughter flowed, tentative bridges, but Ben's gut twisted at her sidelong glances, calculating. Post-dinner, as Michael cleared plates, Evelyn pulled Ben aside in the pantry. "He's wavering, you know. The job requires relocation, Palo Alto. Cleaner slate." Ben's blood chilled. Relocation? He didn't mention. Details pending. Her smile was pitying. Sacrifice for love, dear. Or lose him to it. The pantry door swung open, Michael oblivious. But seeds of paranoia took root. Ben's nights fractured by what-ifs. November elections cast long shadows, the city pulsing with protests and promise. Ben and Michael marched for equality. Signs aloft, no human is illegal, their unity a public vow. Yet privately, fissures widened. Michael's job offer crystallized, 6 figures, stock options, but a clause for personal circumstances review. Evelyn's influence? Ben confronted him over Thanksgiving turkey. His sister's recipe, shipped frozen. Is she pushing this? Palo Alto, away from here. From us? Michael's fork clattered. It's opportunity, Ben. For us. Better schools if we adopt. Space for a studio. Space? Or escape? The words lashed. Born of exhaustion. Hurt flickered in Michael's eyes. From what? You think I'm her puppet? The argument escalated. Voices ricocheting off yellow walls. Ben accusing manipulation. Michael defending autonomy. Evelyn's specter the uninvited third. Doors slammed. Ben storming to the guest room. The bed cold as betrayal. Dawn brought apologies. Michael's arms a plea. I choose you. Every time. They made amends in tear-streaked kisses. But trust's scaffolding wobbled. December's solstice party. Friends from the center. School. Michael's art circle. Filled the house with light. Garland twinkled. Mulled wine warmed. Laughter drowned doubts. Evelyn arrived uninvited, bearing gifts wrapped in legacy paper. Her toast, to roots that bind. Ben smiled through gritted teeth, but overheard her whispering to a cousin. The house will stay in the family. Trust me. The party whirled on, but Ben slipped away, finding Michael on the porch, staring at stars obscured by city glow. She's not winning, Ben said, hand on his back. Michael turned, eyes haunted. What if part of me wants her to? Stability, legacy, it's seductive. Ben's world tilted. And me? The phase? No, Michael's grip crushed. You're the love. But fear. It's her gift. They clung there, rain misting, love a lifeline in the gale. January's New Year resolutions rang hollow. Ben threw into therapy, solo sessions at a queer-affirming clinic in the Tenderloin, unpacking maternal wounds mirrored in Evelyn's siege. Boundaries aren't walls. His counselor, a soft-spoken Latina with piercings like stars, advised. They're gardens. Michael joined reluctantly. Their couple's work raw, exposing Evelyn's grip. Michael's guilt as the golden child who'd fled Sacramento's cage. Progress flickered. Date jars filled with us notes. Therapy homework of daily gratitudes. But Evelyn struck surgically. A letter arrived, certified mail, to Michael. Notice of a lien on the house. Her loans formalized into claims. Repay or forfeit equity, it demanded. Her lawyers seal a guillotine. Michael's face drained of color. She can't. We paid interest. Ben's lawyer confirmed. Loopholes, buried clauses from rush signings. She's claiming undue influence. Says you coerced him post-wedding. Coerced. Ben's laugh was bitter. For love, the legal battle loomed, a specter over their mornings. Friends rallied, fundraisers at the center. GoFundMe whispers, but strain etched deeper. Michael's job start loomed. Palo Alto's pull a siren song. One frigid February eve, after a deposition where Evelyn testified coolly, my son deserves security, Not whims. Ben broke. Curled on the couch. Sobs racking. He gasped, "I can't lose this." "Lose you." Michael knelt, forehead to forehead. "You won't. Fight with me." But as they plotted counters, Ben glimpsed Michael's phone. Text to Evelyn, "Need advice." Ben's pushing back hard. The betrayal stung. A knife twist. Love, Ben realized, demanded truth scalpel, and theirs bled freely. March roared in like a lion, gales rattling the yellow house's windows as if demanding entry to the fray. The lean battle escalated into court dates at the Civic Center, marble halls echoing with legalese that turned their love into line items. Ben's lawyer, Elena, a bulldog in pearls, dissected Evelyn's claims. "She's banking on emotional leverage, portraying you as the interloper, Michael as the victim." Counterarguments flew: joint finances, wedding vows as contract, therapy notes as character witnesses. Publicly, they armored up. Ben's students penned support letters. Alex's poem, Yellow Walls, read at a rally outside the courthouse. Verses of resilience drawing tears from passers-by. Michael's colleagues at the new job, a vibrant collective designing apps for marginalized voices, rallied with pro bono design for flyers. Love owns no liens. But privately, the siege wore them threadbare. Nights blurred into strategy sessions over cold pizza. Ben's red pen slashing affidavits like errant prose. Michael grew distant. Palo Alto commutes stealing evenings. His laughter rarer than fogless days. Evelyn's depositions were masterclasses in passive aggression, tearful tales of single motherhood. Sacrifices for Michael's dreams. Ben reduced to the influence post-vows. "He changed overnight," she claimed, voice quivering for the stenographer. "Lost his way." Michael's rebuttal was fire. "Ben didn't change me, he freed me. From fear. From hiding. From you, Mom." The courtroom hush was profound. Evelyn's facade cracking, lips trembling, eyes darting to her lawyer. Ben squeezed Michael's hand under the table, pride swelling amid the ache. Yet victory's taste soured. Post-hearing drinks at a dive bar in the financial district. Michael confessed over whiskeys. She called after. Apologized. Said she'd drop the lien if I visited more. Palo Alto's close enough. Ben's glass paused mid-sip. Close enough for what? Puppeteering. It's family, Ben. Complicated. Complicated. The word exploded. Bar noise fading. She's weaponizing blood. And you're entertaining it. Michael's eyes flashed. Not entertaining, reconciling. You wouldn't get it. Your folks embraced us. Ben recoiled, the barb lodging deep. Embraced? After years of prayers and phases? I fought for this too. The argument spilled onto the sidewalk. Rain sheeting down. Cab headlights blurring their tears. Choose, Ben choked. Us or her, divide and conquer. I choose us, Michael roared, pulling him close. Always, but words rang hollow against actions. April's cherry blossoms mocked their wilt. Michael's weekends mediating, with Evelyn in Sacramento neutral ground coffee shops. Progress reports texted home. Ben paced the empty house, vacuuming ghosts, his syllabus a blur of unchecked boxes. Therapy fractured under the strain. In session, Michael's lateness chronicled the pull. She needs me. The rock. You're her anchor, Ben countered, voice raw. But I'm adrift. The counselor's words hung. Resentment festers without release. Release came violently. Mayday. Ben surprised Michael at work with lunch, sushi rolls from their favorite spot in Japantown. But the office buzzed with a team-building retreat announcement. Wine Country, Evelyn invited as family consultant for Michael's personal brand. Ben dropped the bag, heart shattering on the lobby tile. He fled to the center, collapsing in Alex's arms during a mentorship hour. "Love's supposed to build," he sobbed. "Not besiege." Alex, wise beyond 16, hugged tight. "Then rebuild solo. You're enough." That night, confrontation brewed. Ben waited in the kitchen. Evelyn's lean file splayed like evidence. Michael arrived windswept, retreat folder in hand. "Ben, hear me out." "No." Ben's voice was steel. "She's in your work now? Our life. It's networking. Mom knows real estate. She's colonizing you." Papers flew, scattering like confetti from a funeral. "The house, the job, our friends, her web." Michael's face hardened. "Paranoia doesn't suit you." "Paranoia or pattern?" Ben thrust forward a printout, emails from Michael's inbox, forwarded by a mutual friend. "Evelyn to Michael. Palo Alto house hunt? Leave the baggage in no." Michael paled. "I didn't. You read it." Replied, thinking, betrayal crested, wave crashing. "Am I baggage?" "Michael, the phase she warned of." Silence screamed. Michael's whisper broke it. "Never. But she's my mother. Flaws and all. And I'm your husband." Ben's laugh was shards. Or was that the flaw? The door loomed. Ben crossed it, crashing at his sister's borrowed couch in a frenzied Uber to the airport, Chicago bound. Escape valve. Texts pinged. Michael's pleas. "Come home. We fixed this." Evelyn's. Smug. Space clarifies. Midwest nights were a mercy. His sister's hugs. Parental pot roast. Open skies unmarred by fog. But dreams haunted. Yellow walls crumbling. Michael's hand slipping from his. June's pride found Ben marching solo. Rainbow armband a talisman. Alex at his side chanting defiance. News from Elena. Evelyn upped the ante, filing for conservatorship over Michael. Emotional distress from the marriage. Court date, July 4th. Irony's firecracker. Ben returned. Flight landing in a heat haze. The yellow house stood sentinel. Michael on the porch, haggard, eyes pleading. "I ended it. With her. Told her. Choose the poison or lose me." Proof. Blocked numbers. Shredded retreat invites. They fell into embrace. Sobs mingling. Love's embers fanned. But embers can flare. July court was a maelstrom. Evelyn's lawyer painting Ben as manipulator. Michael as vulnerable. Witnesses clashed. Center friends vouching unity. Evelyn's cousins echoing family first. Michael's testimony gutted. "Mom, you taught me strength. But this, it's cruelty." Tears streamed. "Ben's my strength. The man I love." Evelyn faltered on the stand. Facade crumbling under cross. "I feared losing him." Losing. Elena pressed. Or controlling? Dismissal came swift. Lien voided. Conservatorship laughed out. Cheers erupted. Ben and Michael entwined in the gallery. Victory sweet but scarred. August healed tentatively. They summered in Mendocino. Coastal drives mending rifts. Michael's sketches capturing Ben's profile against crashing surf. "Our story's epic," he murmured over cliffside sunsets. "Flaws and all." Ben nodded. But Evelyn's echo lingered, a reminder that love's battles leave marks. September whispered autumn. School bells tolling renewal. Ben's classes delved into redemption arcs, the Joy Luck Club, mothers and daughters mirroring their own maternal wars. Michael thrived at work, his designs earning accolades. Palo Alto a mere commute. Yet October's full moon brought reckoning. A letter arrived, not legal, but handwritten. Evelyn's script, fragile. I was wrong. Fear blinded me. Forgive, not for me, for him. Michael read it aloud, voice thick. What now? Ben pondered, heart heavy. Closure. Not conquest. They drove to Sacramento. Yellow house fading in the rearview. A neutral diner chosen, booths scarred by decades of confessions. Evelyn waited, diminished, hair grayer, eyes shadowed. No accusations, just tea steaming between them. I built walls, she admitted, stirring absently. After his father. I armored us. But you, Benjamin, you're the breach. The light. Ben's throat tightened. We all armor. Question is, do we let love dismantle it? Michael bridged hands across the table. A circuit completed. We're family. All of us. Flawed. Tears traced Evelyn's cheeks. First real ones. Then teach me how to be. The drive home was quiet, healing rain pattering. Betrayal's sting dulled to lessen. Love's depth plumbed. November's gratitude season arrived cloaked in fog, but the yellow house glowed warmer, its walls absorbing the scars like veteran oaks. Ben and Michael hosted a hybrid Thanksgiving. Evelyn tentative at the table's end. Her lasagna offered humbly. No oregano lectures. Ben's family joined via video. His mom's pies pixelated but heartfelt. Toasts weaving threads across miles. To mended stories. Evelyn's presence was probationary, small talk over yams. Her gaze softening on Michael's laugh. Lingering on Ben's with nascent respect. The garden looks thriving, she noted. A peace offering to the bougainvillea Ben had coaxed back. Post-feast walks along 24th Street cleared the air. Evelyn linking arms with Ben for the first time. Awkward, but earnest. I envied you, she confessed, breath fogging in the chill. Your ease with him. I gripped too tight. Ben nodded. Vulnerability a shared language. Grip from love. I get it. Just loosen. December twinkled with tentative traditions. Evelyn joined tree trimming. Her ornaments, faded glass baubles from Michael's childhood, hung beside Ben's eclectic collection of literary quotes etched in wood. Michael's sketches immortalized the scene. 3 figures amid tinsel, shadows blending. Holidays brought Ben's family east. His sister and wife crashing on air mattresses, a raucous Hanukkah Christmas mashup with lax and lights. Evelyn integrated, her dry wit sparking with his dad's dad jokes, barriers dissolving in shared carols. Family's a mosaic, Ben's mom said, hugging Evelyn fiercely. Cracks make the light. New Year's dawned crisp. Resolutions etched in a shared journal. Michael's embrace the unknown. Ben's trust the rewrite. Evelyn's listen more. Lead less. Fireworks over the bay mirrored their sparks. Fragile, but fierce. Winter yielded to spring's prodigal return. Cherry blossoms a pink confetti of renewal. Ben's school year culminated in a queer-lit festival. Alex's chapbook launch drawing crowds. His dedication. To Ben teacher, trailblazer. Michael designed the cover. Swirls of yellow and blue evoking their home. Evelyn attended. Front row. Applause thunderous. Post-event, over craft beers at a Mission Brew pub, she pulled Ben aside. Proud of you both. And me, for stepping back. Ben clinked glasses. Stepping in, too. Welcome. Summer unfurled lazy, a rhythm reclaimed. They adopted Luna, a scruffy mutt from the SPCA, her wagging tail a metronome of joy. Backyard barbecues beckoned friends. Evelyn grilling skewers with surprising flair. Her stories now laced with humility. Once upon a time, I was the villain. Turns out, redemption's the best plot twist. Michael's career soared, a solo exhibit at a Soma gallery, panels pulsing with their journey. Fractured frames, abstracts of broken lines mending in gold kintsugi veins. Opening night, Evelyn bought the centerpiece, hanging it in her Sacramento bungalow, a beacon. Ben's manuscript took shape, a memoir of their saga. Yellow Walls, a love under siege, queried to agents with Michael's illustrations. Rejections stung, but acceptances whispered. One from a small queer press in Oakland. Contract inked over champagne on the porch. Fall's Equinox marked their 5th anniversary. Presidio Garden Redux. Vows renewed under Jasmine Arch. Friends gathered. Alex officiating with teenage gravitas. In joy and quake, you choose each other. Rings exchanged anew. Engraved, co-authors forever. Evelyn stood witness, tears unashamed. To chapters closed and open, winter's solstice brought surprise. Evelyn's gift, a deed amendment, full equity release. Her name excised. Yours truly, she said, envelope trembling. Legacy isn't property. It's this. Michael hugged her, Ben joining, the three a knot unbreakable. Years wove onward, tapestry rich. Luna puppied a litter, one pup gifted to Evelyn's neighbor, a bridge to her own mending. Ben's book hit shelves, signings in indie stores where readers shared sieges survived. Michael's firm expanded, queer initiatives blooming. A surrogacy journey crested in spring. Tiny Elias home. His cries a symphony in the nursery. Walls painted soft yellow. Evelyn babysat first, rocking him with stories of Michael's mischief. Ben watching from doorway, heart full. One dusk, as Elias gurgled in Michael's arms, Ben traced the room's borders, cracks sealed, light pouring. We built this, he murmured. Michael's kiss was answer. And keep building, Evelyn, visiting, smiled from armchair. From ruins, beauty, life's plot twisted gentle now. Aging parents' visits, Alex's college send-off, gallery shows in New York. Betrayals faded to footnotes, love the binding thread. In quiet moments, Ben reflected. Sieges forge steel, but grace tempers it. Their story, scarred and shining, whispered to the world. Love claims no home, it makes one. And in the yellow house, under stars pricking the fog, they wrote on together, unbroken.